I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside.
And all of a sudden, Donald Trump started groping me. He was trying to kiss me, and I'm trying to push him away.
2 new anti-Trump ads have been released, and I'm going to share them with you, as well as I want to get your thoughts on if you think this will have any impact on the race, because I'm getting some reminders of 2016 when some of these stories came out and he still won the election. So I want to know what you think after you see these ads. But this is coming from George Conway's group, George Conway's PAC, who is, of course, the ex-husband of Kellyanne Conway. Kellyanne Conway, of course, is the former aide of Donald Trump, who is now a Fox News contributor. What a crazy family. But putting all that aside, this is where Trump currently sits among women. This is a recent NBC poll here. So Harris is up 21 points on Trump with women. And that is an increase from where Biden was, where he was at plus 11 in July. So she's added 10 points since then. Trump, meanwhile, is up 12 with men, which is down from where he was with men in July. So men are trending in the right direction. Women are trending in the right direction. Things are looking pretty good right now. I still have a hard time understanding why Trump has any support at all, but that's a whole different conversation. He's just a complete maniac. He's a disaster. Apart from, him as a character who's, he's a terrible person. But even apart from that, his policy, the fact that, what did he do for 4 years? Tax cuts for massive corporations, and that helped too. So just ripping up the Iran deal, which has helped to just increase tensions with a lot of what's going on right now in the Middle East. But apart from all of that, let me get to this first ad here, and I'm going to get to where these ads are going to be playing, because it is clearly strategic and also in a way that is strategically trying to poke Donald Trump. But here is the first ad.
My name is Natasha Stoynoff. In 2005, I went to interview Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. At one point, Melania went upstairs to change her clothes for the next photo shoot. And Trump said to me, I want to show you this beautiful painting, this beautiful room. He leads me to this room, pushes me against the wall, and starts kissing me forcefully. I tried to push him. Kept coming back at me. I was in shock and smothered, and he had his hands here against my shoulders. I felt sick inside. I felt horrified, and thank goodness the butler charges into the room. Like many women, I blamed myself. So Trump turned to me and said, you know we're going to have an affair, don't you? And Melania was approaching. I was horrified. When the Access Hollywood tape came out, and also stories of many other women, including E. Jean Carroll, I realized I was not to blame, that he was just a predator of women. What could have happened if the butler had not come into the room? Donald Trump is an adjudicated sexual assaulter. We cannot elect this man as president.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
This was a powerful ad. Now, I knew the story already. This came out in 2016. This is just being brought up again, as it should. These stories should be in the minds of people, but unless you follow the news all the time, it's very easy to forget. Like anyone trying to claim, that they're just doing it for attention. I bet most of you completely forgot this ever happened. Forgot about the story. Don't remember her name. I forgot her name. I remember the People magazine writer thing, but that's what I remember her as. I forgot her name completely. So this idea that anyone's trying to do this for attention is insane, because these stories came out, 8 years ago, and people forget that, where's their big movie deal or whatever the hell people are trying to argue. So these are actual stories, things that really happened, and it had no impact. You could argue maybe it did have an impact, but it wasn't enough of an impact to sink his chances in the race. Just, of course, didn't help that Hillary Clinton was just ran a terrible campaign. But these ads are going to be played, and again, I'll get to the other one as well, and I'll also get to later on Trump's recent comments about women, which it's just they're ridiculous, and I'll get to a reaction from another former aide of his reacting to his recent comments. But so these ads are going to air on Trump's favorite channels, including Fox News, ESPN, and the Golf Channel, in his hometowns of West Palm Beach, Florida, and Bedminster, New Jersey. So clearly an attempt here to, bother him and trigger him. Additionally, the ads are being featured nationally on CNN, MSNBC's Morning Joe, Hallmark, Lifetime, and streaming platforms in the critical swing state of Pennsylvania. So I look at this as a two-pronged strategy here. And they're also set to air on News Nation during the vice presidential debate. I look at this as a two-pronged strategy. One is you're actually trying to have an impact on the race, in particular in Pennsylvania here. And the other is you are trying to trigger him into maybe saying something in a similar way that Kamala Harris triggered Trump during the debate about his crowd sizes, and he couldn't help himself. So I think that's why they do stuff like this, is they're really trying to get to him and see if it, results in him having another meltdown. But this is where, it's worth bringing up. This is from 2023. There may have been more since then. It's hard to keep track of this, but there are 26 credible accusations of Donald Trump of assault, non-consensual touching, and kissing. So I'll link to this below the video as well in case you want to go through each of those stories. Let me get to the second ad now.
1979, I had gotten on an airplane. The stewardess said to me, "Would you like to come up to first class?" In the window seat was a gentleman, said that his name was Donald Trump. The airplane took off, and all of a sudden, Donald Trump started groping me. He was trying to kiss me, and I'm trying to push him away. He was basically overpowering me. When he started putting his hand up my skirt, I got out of the seat, grabbed my purse, and went back to my original seat. And I certainly was shook up by the whole thing. 2 years later, at this fundraiser, up comes Trump and his wife. And he looked at me and he said, "I remember you. You're that cunt from the airplane." Donald Trump views women as for his entertainment. He is a serial predator. He has said it at point blank, and he's done it, and he will continue to do it.
Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. is responsible for the content of this advertising.
I gotta say, this is not important, but Anti-Psychopath PAC Inc. Very hard to say. Great name for a pack. Try saying that 5 times fast. So this ad, again, also powerful. Also a story that came out in 2016. It was a part of this piece in the New York Times. 2 women say Donald Trump touched them inappropriately. October 12th, 2016. So, there's more to this story. She had called her sister at the time, and her sister recounts the conversation as well. And she was, of course, very shaken by the whole experience. This had no impact. Again, I should say, maybe it did, but not enough of an impact to actually sink the election. Look at how, just look at the double standards here. Could there even be an equivalent for Kamala Harris doing something like this? What would be the equivalent of this? She physically abused staff members that didn't listen to her or something like that. That would take her down. That would destroy her campaign, or at least have a greater impact on her campaign than any of these 26 accusations have had on Donald Trump. But people have this. I wish I had an answer for this, but people have just this built-in assumption already that, yes, Donald Trump is terrible. And it's like whatever new piece comes out, whatever new story comes out, or old story gets resurfaced, or any new thing he says, it's just, oh, it's Donald Trump. Even for people that hate him, it is hard for things that he says now, the absolute BS he goes on about, it's hard for that to have an impact anymore, because he's already said 12 different things that are the exact same. Or done 26 other things, or 25 other things that are the exact same thing. So it almost paralyzes you as a consumer of news, just because this is who we expect. This is what we expect of him. Now, worth driving home as well that last year, jury found Trump liable for sexual abuse and awarded E. Jean Carroll $5 million. And the judge had to clarify later on, because the Trump camp was trying to claim that, oh, it's liable for abuse, but it wasn't rape. No, but judge clarified later on, yes, Trump was found to have raped E. Jean Carroll. It was just the way the semantics of how the legal system works made it not as clear in the ruling as what actually happened. But it's worth driving that home. Now, this is recently Donald Trump at a rally. Here, let me just play this. I'm going to play a bit of this. This is his new line in trying to win back women.
I always thought women liked me. I never thought I had a problem. But the fake news keeps saying women don't like me. I don't believe it. I think, you know why? They like to have strong borders. They like to have safety. I make this statement to the great women of our country. Sadly, women are poorer than they were 4 years ago, much poorer, are less healthy than they were 4 years ago, are less safe on the streets than they were 4 years ago, are paying much higher prices for groceries and everything else than they were 4 years ago, are more stressed and depressed and unhappy than they were 4 years ago.
All right, I'm pausing it there because it gets weird, but I had to address the point he's making here. 4 years ago, we were 6 months into the pandemic. Who was happy? Who was not stressed? What are you talking about? This is what I talk about when I talk about Trump and how it is exhausting. Just the levels of bullshit again and again. He wants you to pretend that September 2020 was a great time for everybody. Are you insane? Like, come on. Not to mention, when it applies to cost of living, for example, there was global inflation that impacted the entire world. And not to mention on top of that, greedflation, which corporations taking advantage of the situation. And things have come down in terms of inflation, have come down since then. So again, just this complete manufacturing of a reality that never existed. But let me get to the rest of the comments here, which get, again, weird.
I am your protector. I want to be your protector. As president, I have to be your protector. I hope you don't make too much of it. You will no longer be abandoned, lonely, or scared. You will no longer be in danger. You're not going to be in danger any longer. You will no longer have anxiety from all of the problems our country has today. You will be protected, and I will be your protector. You will no longer be thinking about abortion. It's all they talk about, abortion.
All right. Again, all of these comments were specifically directed towards women. That is how he introed this portion of his speech. I am your protector. He kept hammering that home. This really came off like an idea that was brought to him by, a couple of men in a room. Like, oh, women like to feel protected. So how about you go out there and act like you're going to be their protector? They also like people who aren't a rapist, but you don't fit the bill. So it comes off as weird coming from Donald Trump. And then on top of that, you will no longer have to think about abortion. Yeah, because you will completely outlaw it. So I guess in a way you could maybe argue, yeah, they can't think about abortion because they can't have one. What is this? There's more there about how he solved the abortion issue by putting it to the states where women are dying because they're unable to access healthcare. So, because there are doctors who are afraid they're going to be prosecuted if they perform procedures that these women need. It's so disgusting that he's trying to play this angle here. I think most people, we looked at the numbers earlier, most women know better, but it's just weird to me that he thinks this is going to, save his campaign. Let me get to the comments here. The reaction. This is from Alyssa Farah, who was a former White House official for Donald Trump. And she's also, I believe, a host on The View.
The stuff about women does it strike you as odd?
I started laughing and thinking it was creepy, but then thinking more about it, it's very infantilizing. Talking about women as though we're weak, we're meek, we need a protector, we need a defender, and we just sit around thinking about abortions all day. It just underscores a fundamental lack of understanding for why a demographic that represents half of the country is one that he is struggling so profoundly with.
Glad to know I wasn't the only one that thought those comments were weird. This is from a Republican here. Now, I don't know, Imagine Joe Biden said this. Like, it's weird if Trump says it, which shows you that if it's weird, even if when he says it, because again, very few things faze us when it comes to Trump. Just imagine like Joe Biden saying it. I will be the protector of women. Women, don't you worry. I will be your protector. You'll be safe with me. Or let's reverse it. what if Kamala Harris, since she is down with men compared to Trump, what if Kamala Harris came out, men, don't you worry, men, I will be your protector. It's just weird. It's a weird thing to say. It's a weird way to try and project your support for men or women. Whatever. It's not going to move the needle either way. I think a lot of people are sort of locked in, and at this point, just a matter of getting people out to vote. Like, that is really what is going to win this election for Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, is turnout. If turnout is high, Kamala Harris will win. Democrats win when turnout is high, because most people don't lean crazy. Most people tend to lean in a more positive direction. But it's just about getting them out to actually vote and feel the need, and like their vote matters, and that there's a candidate maybe speaking to their issues in a way that wasn't speaking to them before. So turnout is going to be everything, especially as it applies to young people. That is what's going to win this election for Kamala Harris. This other stuff, again, I'm curious your thoughts on these two ads, if you think this will have any impact, or if you think that ship on Trump at this point has sailed.